Male feminists are in it to get laid.
Yeah, any man that considers themselves to be a male feminist is automatically just trying to pander to women, trying to get to be like, oh, look, I support your issues. Oh, please date me. Oh, can I have some sex? Oh, no, not now. Maybe later. No, okay. Get out of here, man. You kidding me? I'm curious to see what these guys are gonna say about it, though. That's what these guys are.
I'm excited for this one because I don't like women sexually, so this is going to be a very interesting conversation. I think that if you are a straight male, the way you view women subconsciously is always going to have something to do with sex.
Right.
On just a fundamental level, just in nature. Now, that might not be the whole premise, but I do think that it has something to do with it.
Yeah, I think again, the problem with these statements is they're general. I think there are men out there that are predatory and are posing as feminists to get into the pants of women.
Even on a more micro level, so I was literally just watching a recent Jubilee video, and it was one about a man. He was a self-proclaimed pickup artist, and this is almost a direct quote of what he says. He goes, "Oh hell yeah, I fuck with feminism."
You know, I like to think I'm a feminist. I fuck with feminism.
And I think it's kind of emblematic of there are men that don't understand the full gravity of how people who are real feminists feel about the situation. And they kind of see it as this cool, hot social issue. And if I talk about it, it puts me in the group of the good people. And I don't think it's always heinous, while there are people that are doing that. Some of it's just such blatant ignorance that they lack the understanding.
Yeah, I think even the posing of the question is indicative of the truth of the matter, that I think a lot of the time it is that, because if you align yourself with a lot of the more traditionally toxic masculine traits and you're not viewed as on team woman, then you're not going to be in line with a lot of Western women in today's society.
I have a few friends that go to these parties and they're like, oh yeah, fuck Andrew Tate. They all watch him, but they'll be like, oh fuck Andrew Tate, just so they can get laid, because they know that's how a woman will feel like, oh wow, they're listening to me, or oh wow, they agree with me, and feel a little more connected.
Wow, he had to bring him up in the conversation. Andrew Tate, he had to be brought up somehow, who was seen as the world's most controversial figure. And I wouldn't be surprised if men will completely rid themselves of their own beliefs just to get laid. Now, you know what, though? They're good. Go ahead, lie. Sell these women the dream. If it's going to get you some, if it's going to get you laid, go right ahead, gentlemen. Because to go back at the end of the day, man, that's the reason why men deal with women in the first place, is for sexual access. That's the reason why we speak with women, we engage with women, we speak with them, especially while we court them. It's because we're trying to get laid.
And I think for me, as someone who believes genuinely in the fact that men and women are equal, but I don't go around parading myself as a feminist, because the only thing that I could think that justifies being a third-wave feminist, being a feminist today, is you must just want to get laid, because there's no reason to believe in all of these crazy things that go after your identity as a man, that seek to strip you of your masculinity, that perpetuate these terrible ideas that men are bad and evil and all of these things, that you can't be a provider, you can't be a protector, all these things. I think that has to be the reason.
Some of us don't identify with, me personally, I don't identify with masculinity. I might show masculinity, but I don't think feminism is taking anything away from me.
But I think that's a societal problem, though. The fact that masculinity itself has become a dirty word is a problem.
I didn't say it's a dirty word. I'm saying it doesn't matter.
Why do you choose not to identify with it anymore, even as a man?
Because when you say it, nothing in my heart feels anything. It's just a word. It's just I don't think anything I do is because I'm a man. I think that it's because of who I am.
Yeah. Well,
let's hear it.
I think to your point, asking why would any man be a feminist? So I just think that we don't all view feminism the way you do. Similar to the way the Black Lives Matter movement has been moved and changed and developed in terms of the way that people identify it. The things that you speak about when you talk about third wave feminism is not what I mean when I say that I am a male feminist. And so, if you can't understand that me wanting to make the world a more equal and level playing field for my two daughters, for my wife, for my mother and my mother-in-law, and standing in front of people who want to take liberties away from them, that's the reason why I am a male feminist. It's a perpetuation of oppression that I'm trying to dismantle.
And for me, I think we're taking this from a very heteronormative perspective, right? All my friends aren't straight women. So I'm not gonna look at my non-binary or LGBTQ friends and be like, oh, just because I can't have sex with you, I'm not gonna fight for your rights. There is no personal gain for just saying that
two
we
things
should
can
be
be
there.
true. I agree with you, and I think a lot of us agree on what we're talking about. It's just these labels are in the way of getting us to that.
Also a blanket statement.
One thing to build on top of too is, to an extent, leading men to want to take advantage of women is the very pressure put on by other men.
Yeah.
That if you're not sleeping around, if you're not getting laid, you aren't. And that doesn't come from women, at least from my experience.
That's
so,
patriarchal culture.
If men
Yeah.
were a little bit like so, I'll say this now. I didn't lose my virginity until I was 22. Now I'm fine with that. If you ask me at 21 how I felt about that, I would change the subject as quickly as I possibly could because I was ashamed
They make
of
movies
it.
about it.
Right.
Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, I was ashamed of it, but that's part of the patriarchy.
This is gonna be the last prompt.
Let's hear it.
I want to hear everyone speak. I want everyone to get their voice in. Be mindful of folks that are trying to talk. Step forward if you agree with the prompt.
Okay.
I like living in a patriarchal society.
Attention all men. Are you tired of using skincare products that just don't seem to work for you? Introducing T. Chanley, a skincare line specifically designed for men. Our products are easy to use and formulated with high quality ingredients that will leave your skin looking and feeling its best. From cleansers to moisturizers, our line has everything you need to keep your skin healthy and youthful. You have to have some skincare routine in order for you to have an advantage over those other men who use the over-the-counter cleansers. So men, hold yourself to a standard of cleanliness and attractiveness. So say goodbye to dull, dry skin and say hello to a fresh, vibrant look with T. Chanley. Try our products today and see the difference for yourself. Don't wait. Order now and get 30% off of your first purchase. The link is in the description below. Trust us, your skin will thank you. So visit tchanley.com now. I like living in a functional society that is run by strong, level-headed men that want the best for humanity and who want to further the human race to prosperity, wealth, and abundance. One brave soul. Let's hear it, bro.
I would say patriarchal society. Again, I've mentioned the scriptural basis for this, but I think patriarchal society is the way that society functions best. Yeah, patriarchy is just a man-led society. So I think we've kind of flipped the term on its head to mean something that it doesn't mean, to say that a patriarchy is a society that oppresses women. That's not what a patriarchy is. So I think if you have a patriarchy operating properly, you have men that are responsible and taking care of their families, taking care of the women of society, and in turn the women have equal opportunities to pursue whatever career they want, to be a mom, to be a wife, and to do the things that they want to do as well.
There has never been a woman-led society that has ever stood the test of time. There has never been a matriarchy that has ever stood the test of time because they were always outshined and outbeaten by the patriarchies around them. Men are meant to lead, women are meant to follow. That is the way the society, that the world works. Okay, that's the way that we are meant. That's the way that God has designed us to be. There is no other system that works other than a man-made society, that a man runs and operates and dictates the rules. Men lead, women follow.
So, I'll go first. This is a little bit of a personal, emotional thing. At the beginning of September, I lost my brother to cancer. And I took about 2 or 3 weeks off work. And then I really started feeling, the financial impact of it. And I have my girlfriend, people in my life telling me that they want to help me out financially. But I have this thing internally within me that feels like a leech. In some way, shape, or form, that is because of this thing that this expectation that we put on men to be providers. It's really fucking hard. And I can't explain why. I would have liked to have a little bit more time than 3 weeks before I had to start worrying about fucking money again after my brother passed away. And I do feel like that kind of is a direct result of the patriarchy. And I know that it is myself, it's my personal feelings, but I think it stems from the society that I grew up in that I'm even feeling these things to begin with.
It has nothing to do with the society that you live in. It's because you're a man. Within every man, there exists a burning, bright flame, a fire inside each and every man that can either cause him to be a warrior or a monster. It can cause, and that fire can either cause that man to either create great things for the world or great destruction. That is why. That's what you were feeling, not because of this patriarchy system. It's a shame that you lost your brother. I can only imagine the pain and suffering you must have felt, how debilitating it must have been. And unfortunately, we live not in a patriarchy, but in a world in which a man must still provide, regardless of how he feels. Because if he doesn't, he will always be outshined, outranked, and beaten by the men who are willing to get up and do the work anyway, regardless of how they feel, regardless of what they've been through. It's a cruel world out there, man. It's an evil world. And as a man, you gotta stay tough, you gotta stay strong, you gotta be able to understand that it's not fair, life isn't fair, the world isn't fair, and nobody owes you anything. And at the end of the day, nobody truly, deeply cares about your struggles or what you've been through. All they care about is what you can provide to society.
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, to start, I want to say I'm really sorry for your loss because I can't even imagine what it's like to lose a loved one. So I want to thank you for sharing your story. It's really important for people to hear. But I don't think that it's accurate to blame a horrific situation on one aspect of society or the patriarchy or this without any solid basis.
So I think that's a fair response. And to clarify my statement just a little bit, that's more of a communal problem. I wish there was a little bit more of a stronger community sense within our country.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a patriarchal society is not one of support. It's one of merit. It's one of bootstraps. It's one of strength.
Competition.
Yeah, it's competition.
You said that a merit-based society is somehow correlated with the patriarchy, and I don't see the correlation there, because if you look anywhere in nature, everything is merit-based. Lions in the safari, it's about strength. It's about, competition. That's just how our world works. And my biggest flaw with feminism today, or any social movement really, is that some things are just inherent to nature. So to try to solve equal outcome and solve all of these problems, it's just naive, and it takes away from actually solving the issues that are in front of us, because it's a delusion.
There will always be winners and losers.
Yeah. I just wanted to go back and, we've been asking, what does patriarchy mean, right? I don't think it just means male-led. What I'm trying to dismantle is the institutions in our society reinforcing that males are superior. A lot of societal institutions and staples of our society are reinforcing that narrative that men alone have to take on that mantle of being the one to provide, being the one to lead the charge on fixing a problem, right? Where, like what Tucker was saying, we all experience emotions and, react independently, and we look for community.
Yeah, so I think a direct combat towards the patriarchy is emotional intelligence that we haven't actually talked much about today. We keep going back to business, money, and all these different things because those are things associated with manhood. But if we really want to shift the dynamic, it's about how do we own the emotional parts of ourselves as men, and that is not a conversation that is had in society enough, nor is it supported. In a patriarchal society, it impacts men in a way where we feel like we can't let the armor down.
That's what the difference between you're saying third wave feminism versus first and second wave. I feel like now it's about superiority. When you're saying you're mansplaining, or when you're playing men do this, or men take advantage and men do that, it makes it as we're your enemy, when in reality it should be more about working as a team, right?
I have a clarifying question. Yeah. So you were describing that it's shifting to matriarchy, right?
Yeah, matriarchy. Just more like being against, when you're demonizing men for their actions in general.
Yeah, so when we're moving towards a socially matriarchal society, it's mansplaining and it's men being canceled. But when patriarchy is in place, we're dealing with issues of wealth, We're dealing with issues of healthcare, whether you consider it healthcare or not. We're dealing with issues of safety. We're dealing with issues of liberty. We're dealing with issues of choice. It seems that matriarchy is less, I guess, oppressively heavy because all I have to deal with is you not liking what I have to say. Whereas in a patriarchy, I can't make as much money. That's worse.
Well, it's not just about disagreeing about whether or not it exists. And the fact of the matter is, even in a patriarchal society which doesn't exist, men and women can still go and make the same amount of money. If women majored in higher paying fields of study, they would make more money. When we talk about men's mental health, I separate it from patriarchy because I think that to be expressive about what you're feeling and what you're going through, you have to be strong. And being strong, I associate that with being a man, being masculine. Maybe society would like to beat you up for that. Maybe that's why men are likelier to commit suicide. But that is still an example of strength.
I think that as we get further and further along the generations, we need to start preaching to young men the type of strength that you were talking about. Self-awareness, discipline, and honesty, emotional honesty. It's not being tough and not like, being able to go through a lot, but being aware when you're going through something, when you're struggling, being able to articulate that, right? And doing it to the right people at the right time. I think that is what strength is. And I think that that's a positive message that we could communicate to the next generation about masculinity.
We ended on consensus.
Yes, that is a wrap on male feminists versus male anti-feminists. Nice job, y'all.
They say they hate men while trying to become men. Not true. That is true.
Oh, shoot. Female feminists versus female anti-feminists. That might be another episode. By the way, folks, thanks for watching. And on a last quick point, they were saying, honestly, a matriarchy is a weaker society, truly and deeply. Women are not meant to lead. Men are meant to lead, okay? Anything that women lead will lead to ruin and decay and destruction, okay? While men have a much more higher chance of leading a successful society because that's what men are physically, mentally, and spiritually designed to do, okay? And as history has ever shown us, no matriarchy has ever stood the test of time, not even one, okay? They were all outbeaten, outranked, and destroyed by the groups of men that were around them by other patriarchies, okay? Patriarchy is the only way to go. A woman-led society will lead to nothing but destruction, okay? But what do you guys think? Thoughts, comments, concerns? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. If anything, folks, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.